Well, about 6 minutes after midnight, Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety dispatchers received a call of a fire here on Lakeview Drive. Our first arriving units, which were some of our patrol units, reported some heavy smoke coming from the building. Fire units got on scene and we found a fire in the garage area and extending into where the vehicles are. They started an attack immediately and also did a search because the initial reports were that as many as 4 people might still be in the building. As it turned out, nobody was in the building. Everybody had self-evacuated, but we always want to make sure that nobody is left in, especially in heavy smoke conditions. By 12:57, so about 45 minutes later, we had the fire knocked down, and we do have, at this time, about 10 fire apparatus on scene. We have another 10 or 12 patrol units assisting them, and we have a fire investigator here to help determine the cause of the fire, as well as paramedic standby.
Now, how many occupants do you know that were living in the house at the time?
I don't know for sure how many people have been living in the scene. Initial reports were there could have been as many as 8 people in the building when the fire started, but I don't know if they were all occupants or not.
I saw one lady being taken away by the ambulance. She looked like she was an occupant in there. I saw she was crying earlier. Do you know anything about why she was taken away?
I don't have any information on anybody being taken away. Yeah, I can check on that for you, but don't know right now.
Yeah, she seemed like she was, it almost looked like she was in a wheelchair, so she might have been an invalid or something.
Well, I know there's a report of an oxygen cylinder inside the house, so that typically would indicate that there may be somebody who has some kind of disability that requires the oxygen. In a heavy smoke condition, and there was some very heavy smoke there, there may have been a complication, but that's, at this point, I'm making some assumptions, so I don't know for sure yet.
Now, I overheard somebody say something about they saw somebody leaving the scene or anything like that. Is there anything like that that you heard at all?
I've not heard that, but we do have a fire investigator on scene, and our investigators, their primary job is to determine the cause of the fire, whether it was an electrical fire, a vehicle fire that started it, or whether it was an arson and some third party may have started the fire. That's their job, is to make that determination. At this point, it's a little bit early to try and guess what actually happened here.
Well, at least everybody seems to have gotten out safely, and it's really a shame that it seems like the people of that house, the family that was in there, lost everything that they owned over the years.
I haven't been inside the structure yet, but certainly it's not going to be habitable. There is extensive damage in the building. Even in the back part of the building where fire didn't get to, there's a lot of smoke and water damage. And I was just monitoring on our dispatch net that there's some question about the structural stability of the building as a whole. And again, that's part of what our fire inspector and building inspectors will determine, whether it's safe to be in the building or not. And that can be a real problem sometimes.
Has the Red Cross been called to take care of the family?
We typically do that. I've not heard the call go out yet, but typically we do look to the Red Cross to help support housing and emergency clothing for victims of fires. When we get to a fire like this, particularly in a residence, our primary job here really is protection of life first. We want to make sure nobody's in there, make sure they're out. Then to get the fire out and make sure that people are taken care of.
Well, anyway, John, thank you very much for your time.
Sure.
I appreciate it. And
my pleasure. It's our job.
Yeah.
Wait for it, I see Sunnyvale 10.